Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the madness. Christmas morning is upon us. In just 2 hours, we have week 1. We made it. Super excited. Hope you all are as well. Any last minute start, sit, help, that's what I'm here for. Any last minute decisions, roster decisions that you have going into week 1, we can talk shop, we can cover it, whatever it is that you may need for your lineups. We'll get you taken care of in these next couple of hours. We will get inactives rolling in at the bottom of the hour. Those typically come in at 11:30 East, so we will know who is officially in and who's officially out for the early games, for the 1 o'clock games. So we'll keep an eye on that. The only, and I went over the latest practice reports in my start sit stream yesterday. That's on the channel. So if you want to check that out, it's the very beginning of the stream. I always start the start sit streams with injury updates, practice reports, all that good stuff. So if you want to take a look at that, that's from yesterday's stream. The only update that I saw today so far that is new is that Kyler Murray has been added to the injury report with an illness, but this isn't affecting his game status. He is going to play. So no major injury updates from what we already discussed yesterday. But of course, we'll keep an eye on things and see if there are any additional updates. First of all, shout out to my members. I see Iron. What's going on, Iron? Long time no see. Hope all's well. I see Crumply Heads. What's going on? Thank you guys for popping in. Thank you for your support as always. And good morning to everybody, of course. Start sit live streams the same as always. If you've been here before, you already know. You've been around the block. If you are joining for the first time, welcome. Members will get first priority when it comes to getting questions answered and comments responded to. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. I will jump out of line for my members. If you send a super chat, that would also be a line jumper. If you are feeling generous enough, that will get a priority response as well. Also, probably a more thorough response from me will members and super chats get. If you do not send a super, if you are not a member, I will still get to your question, but it will be after I get member questions and super questions, even if those come in after your question, okay? I jump out of line or, give priority to the members and to super chats. So just know that your question will get answered, but it will come after those two. If you are not a member, if you are a member, if you're joining for the first time, if you've been here before, I only ask that if you're enjoying the conversation, if you are enjoying the dialogue and the stream in general, that you like the live stream. That helps me for algorithm purposes. Appreciate that in advance. Let's get after it. What's going on, Greg? I see you as well, and I see Rojo. Appreciate the support, guys. Thank you so much. Let's kick things off with Rojo. Jordan Mason or Jacoby Myers in half PPR. Jordan Mason is on Monday Night Football on the road against the Bears. Jacoby Myers playing at 1 p.m. East today against the New England Patriots, who will be without Christian Gonzalez, their starting cornerback. I tend to lean Jacoby Myers here, Rojo, just because while we are enthusiastic about Jordan Mason's opportunity with the Minnesota Vikings, the coach speak has been very promising and positive for him all offseason. We haven't seen his role in a real game yet. We haven't seen definitively that he's playing 55 to 60% of the snaps over Aaron Jones. We have not seen that yet. We are, I think, maybe anticipating that takes place over the course of the season, but we don't know definitively that it's going to happen week 1. It's also not the best matchup against the Bears. The Bears have they have a decent defense, and on the road, without knowing the breakdown, Jordan Mason might only be on the field for 35 to 40% of the snaps, and now he's got to come through on incredible efficiency or fall into the end zone to pay off. That makes it a little bit tougher. Myers is going to be an every down player for the Raiders. So I think in this instance, for just week one, at least, I would go Myers. I would go Myers. Until we see that breakdown. I see a couple questions from Greg. Again, one more time, I do see questions that have populated at the top of the chat. I will get to them, but member questions get priority. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. If you are interested in becoming a member of the channel, details are in the first link in the description of this live stream and every video and stream on the channel. 99 cents a month. The practice squad level will get you access to priority responses in the live streams throughout the course of the season. Just some food for thought. So I don't know. Okay, so Greg, Christian McCaffrey or J.K. Dobbins, you're rolling with Christian McCaffrey. There's no, we don't want to overthink these things for week one. McCaffrey's expected to play. I know that the trend with his practice reports, practice status this week is not a positive one, but reports trickled in yesterday that McCaffrey's expected to play. He said he feels great in a press conference. We have no choice. It's week one. We have to hold out for McCaffrey, and if he's active, he's in your starting lineup. You have to play. You have to play McCaffrey. If he's a surprise inactive, the Broncos, I believe, also are a later game. They're also kicking off in the 4:05 window. So if you do have to bench McCaffrey, you have Dobbins. So you have the fail-safe ready to go if you need to pivot. That being said, we're not pivoting. At least as of right now, we're not pivoting. You're rolling with Christian McCaffrey over J.K. Dobbins. As far as Keenan Allen, I mean, yeah, the returns are promising. The Chargers were throwing the football a lot on Friday night against the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that we've stamped as a run-first offense, right? Jim Harbaugh, Greg Roman, we expect them to want to run the football and that be the foundation of their offensive philosophy, but that didn't play out, at least on Friday night. They were throwing the ball a ton, and why wouldn't you? You have Justin Herbert. He is a good quarterback. Let him throw the football. Don't be a run-first offense with a elite young quarterback. Easier said than done, of course, but Herbert proved that, the Chargers should be able to throw the ball with success most weeks, and Keenan Allen helps them do that. He's not going to be their wide receiver one, but, I would say he has wide receiver 3 appeal with wide receiver 2 upside. Maybe not every single week. Ladd McConkey, some of those scores are going to go his way. More volume is going to go his way some weeks, but still, Keenan Allen is a vet. He's at worst the second best wide receiver in this Chargers room, and he's built a rapport over the past few years, not last year, but the previous 4 years before that with Justin Herbert already. So, there's a strong connection there. Yeah, Keenan Allen is a hold if you have him on your bench. There was no way we were starting him week one, but he's absolutely a hold, even in shallow leagues. Yeah, definitely worth hanging on to Keenan Allen. And then as far as Love versus Goff, I did like Jordan Love over Jared Goff just because of his chances that he will run. So you can still go that route. The issue with Love, I guess, is his receivers are banged up. Jaden Reed is dealing with a Jones fracture. It's anyone's guess as of right now how effective he will be planting and cutting on a play-by-play basis, game-by-game basis. So that hurts their receiver core if he's less than 100%. Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams, other wide receivers that they aren't necessarily relying on, but this is depth. This is their depth. Those two are also questionable going into this game with their own injuries. So, the Packers are currently down to Matthew Golden and Romeo Doubs, I think, as their healthy main contributors at wide receiver. So that hurts Love a little bit. maybe it increases his chances that he scrambles a little bit more in this game. I do think I would still lean Love over Goff. Goff does have healthier weapons and maybe more top-heavy, better weapons with Amon-Ra and Jamo, who just got paid last night, and Sam Laporta. But Goff is a zero running the ball. And so I want to always take shots on guys who I think can give me some upside with their legs, scrambling at the quarterback position. Love is more likely to do that for Goff. So even with Love is more likely to do that than Goff, excuse me. So even with the Packers' injuries at wide receiver, I think I would still lean Love. What's going on, Fortune? Good to see you. That's a tough choice between these three guys, three rookie running backs making their NFL debut. Between Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Caleb Johnson, and Dylan Sampson. I guess I would go Sampson here. I tend to shy away from rookies in a rotation when they don't have a clear role just yet, a clear defined role, week one. Literally, they're all starting their NFL careers. To be honest, I don't expect much of anything from any of these guys today. But that being said, I guess I'll take a shot on Dylan Sampson just because Quinshon Judkins is not going to play for the Cleveland Browns. For Bill Krosky, he's competing with Austin Eckler and veterans like Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols for opportunities against a solid Giants front seven. So I don't know that we can trust Krosky-Merritt in his first game, in his first career NFL game. So I wouldn't play him with those three veterans ahead of him. And Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren's probably going to get the start. Don't be surprised to see Kenny Gainwell run ahead of Caleb Johnson today. It would not shock me if Caleb Johnson is the third running back on the field, like the third running back to take a snap for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. I think he's going to be eased in. I think it's going to be a slow burn. I don't think you can rely really on any of these guys today, but Sampson at least just has Jerome Ford to contend with for opportunities. And it's a good matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals at least. So I guess my answer would be Sampson, Fortune. I like those first two names. I don't like them today. And even Sampson is on the RB3 radar. He's not an RB2 today. But there should be a decent opportunity for him. At least with no Quinshon Judkins for this week. So I'll take Sampson there. Best of luck. But yeah, I don't like relying on, Ashton Genty obviously is in your lineup. Amarian Hampton was in your lineup Friday night. He didn't pan out, but these are first round picks. Day 2 and day 3 picks making their NFL debuts. They're more volatile week one. They just are. We're not necessarily relying on these guys, expecting these guys to make an impact in their first career game. There's going to be random veterans that run ahead of the enticing rookies for the early portion of the season. So I don't necessarily want to rely on day 2 and day 3 picks week one. And then Greg, lots of decent options on defense. I am streaming the Rams in a couple of places this week. I think they'll do okay. They're at home. They're against a questionable Houston Texans offensive line. The Rams have a good pass rush. And they're slight favorites. The Rams are 3-point favorites today over the Houston Texans. So, if they're playing with a lead, if they can in fact get a lead, and then their pass rush can tee off against a questionable offensive line, I like that spot for LA. LA is often a spot where road teams and the road team's fan base can kind of take over SoFi. Houston, I don't know that necessarily has that level of a fan base, has that level of a following as some of the bigger franchises that have been around for longer. So I don't think that's as much of a factor for the Rams. Might be a little bit more of a home game for them. At home, this is an LA issue, by the way. It's not really a problem anywhere else. But no such issue in all likelihood as far as, the away fans taking over the stadium today. So I like the Rams. I like the spot that they're in. And I think their defense can should be able to get a couple of sacks and certainly a decent amount of pressure on CJ Stroud behind that offensive line that traded Laramie Tunsil in the offseason, and they weren't very good with him last year. So, yeah, I'll take the Rams. I'll take the Rams. Rojo, appreciate the super. Appreciate the super, my friend. Appreciate the kind words. Yeah, and always happy to help if there's any other questions that pop up. Appreciate it. But yep, the goal is to make this, helpful, engaging community. I don't go for hot takes. I don't have a whole heck of a lot of, pizzazz or anything like that. I just, do my best to keep it 100. There's not a whole heck of a lot of fanfare and special production with this channel. Just trying to get straight to the point and help folks with the lineups and talk shop, talk ball. So appreciate it. And happy birthday, Rojo. Everybody say happy birthday to Rojo as we all get ready for the week 1 slate. Super excited. Super charged up. I will be at the bar in about 3 hours time. So very much looking forward to the week 1 slate. Looks like a couple more member questions have popped in. Again, I see your questions. If you've already asked them, I will get to them. But again, a perk of being a member of the channel and or sending a super is getting your questions responded to in priority order. Greg has another question. No problem. Pearsall, Dobbins, or Debo. I do think Dobbins leads the Broncos backfield this week over RJ Harvey. So he's certainly in consideration. I don't mind the shot on Debo. He's been probably the guy in camp that has gotten the most reps with Jaden Daniels as far as that wide receiver this camp, because Terry McLaurin was holding out. So Debo's not in a bad spot. And I do like Pearsall. It'll be interesting to see what the distribution of targets is for San Francisco today. I expect Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle to be 1 and 2, but Pearsall is probably wide receiver 1 for them, not weapon 1. That's Kittle, that's McCaffrey. But Jawan Jennings missed a lot of camp, contract negotiations, presumably having a calf issue. I don't know if that was his excuse to not be practicing while he tried to get a new contract or get more money. But he didn't practice all that much in camp. I like Ricky Pearsall today. The question, though, is can he, on any given week, usurp Kittle and McCaffrey and earn more targets? I don't know about week 1. So I guess I would slightly lean Debo. Greg, I would slightly lean Debo. I just got done talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I mean, Debo could get into the backfield and do some of his wide back stuff today. Post Brian Robinson trade. Questions about roles. Will Chris Rodriguez, will Jeremy McNichols factor in? How much run do they give Austin Eckler? Will Krosky-Merritt get in there? We don't want to forget Debo might take some handoffs, some carries, some opportunities in the backfield today as they navigate their backfield post Brian Robinson trade. So Debo could get in there and get some wide back opportunities on top of being a wide receiver, who again got most of the wide receiver 1 reps during camp with Terry McLaurin holding in for a new contract. So I think I would go Debo here. Yes, sir. All right, Iron. And it's good to see you, man. It's good to see everybody. Happy Football Sunday. We are back. Very excited to be doing this with you all fine people once again. Let's count some W's this evening. What do you say? 1 running back, 1 flex out of Connor, Walker, Metcalf, Ridley, J-Mo. These are all really, really good options. Connor against the Saints feels like a guy that you simply have to go with. I think that's the guy that I would play at my running back spot. Connor against New Orleans in a fantastic matchup is one direction I would go. And then honestly, any of Walker, Metcalf, or J-Mo are all good options. I would say Ridley's the odd man out here in a tough matchup against Patrick Surtain. I don't know that I necessarily want to go with him. So he would be my odd man out. I think I would go Walker, Iron, as your other guy, as your guy in your flex. Just rock with your 2 running backs. Walker was, I guess, kind of like put on ice a lot of times by Seattle this camp. I think they were keeping him fresh, monitoring his reps, trying to keep him healthy for the start of the season. That appears to have played out well. He returned to practice in full a couple of weeks ago. So I think we're anticipating a normal expected workload for Kenneth Walker at home. Yes, it's a tougher matchup against San Francisco, but they need him. He's going to resume 1A duties for at least week 1. And with all of the turnover that Seattle had in their pass catching core, I would expect Walker to continue to catch the ball at a high rate. He earned didn't he earn like an 8 or 10% target share last year, Kenneth Walker? And now DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are both gone. So I expect Walker will, he should get 4, 5, maybe 6 targets today. I would expect he catches the ball a decent amount. I would go Connor and Walker. I like Metcalf today against the Jets. I like JMO today against the Packers. You have some really good options there, Iron. I would go with the 2 workhorse running backs to start the year. And I like Ridley. I do like Ridley this year. I am less bullish on him today going up against Patrick Surtain. He's the dude I definitively would not play today. But if you're desperate, Ridley could be fired up as a wide receiver 3 or a flex. Okay, I think I have all member questions for now, so I will quickly pop back up to the top of the chat. Appreciate everybody else's patience as I work through member questions and supers. Again, those are ways to jump the line and get your questions answered faster if you join as a member or if you send a super. Full PPR, start Breece Hall or J.K. Dobbins. Breece goes up against the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Dobbins at home against the Tennessee Titans in a game where the Broncos are heavy favorites. In this scenario where it's week 1, I think I just want to play the guy that I drafted first, and you drafted Breece Hall ahead of J.K. Dobbins. So even in a tougher matchup, at least they're at home. I would take Breece. Let's see how this Jets backfield breakdown shakes out. Let's see how much burn Braylon Allen gets behind Breece Hall. That is yet to be seen, obviously, how that will play out. But I would think Breece is the starter for at least this week. Got to imagine it's longer than that. But we're not worried about week 2 right now. We're just worried about week 1. Breece Hall should operate as the 1A for the Jets, even though they've gassed up their entire running back room all offseason long. I would think Breece gets first crack at RB1 opportunities today. You drafted him probably in the 4th round, maybe the 5th round if he slid a little bit. Dobbins was probably more of like an 8th or 9th round pick. Let's play Breece. Let's roll the dice with Breece Hall and hope for the best, even though it's not a great matchup. Dobbins, I think, could be fine today in a better matchup against the Tennessee Titans. Anyone's guess how much RJ Harvey mixes in. But again, I would not be surprised if Dobbins takes most of the snaps and opportunities for the Broncos backfield today. So that being said, I'll play Breece. You drafted him multiple rounds higher than J.K. Dobbins, which means, there's a talent level discrepancy expectation between the 2 of those guys. We want to play the dude that we have higher expectations for. As of right now, we have higher expectations for Breece Hall than J.K. Dobbins. Give me Breece. Start 2 of Jalen Waddle, Travis Hunter, Khalil Shakir, Jerry Jeudy, DK Metcalf, Rome Odunze. There's some good options here. There's some really good options here. Not Shakir coming off of the high ankle sprain. Yes, he's going to play tonight, but that gives me a little bit of pause. He missed almost all of the summer with the high ankle sprain. He missed the past month of practices. So I would proceed with caution there. Maybe not a Odunze either. It'll be interesting to see how the Bears, target distribution shakes out in their first game. We are expecting a breakout for Rome Odunze, but this is a tougher matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. And you have some good options here that I think I feel a little more strongly about. Metcalf should dominate opportunities for Pittsburgh. So he's in contention. I like Waddle today in a good matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. Nothing scary about that matchup. Hunter, much has been made about this at this point. He's going to play like an 80% snap share on offense. He's going to be a rotational, situational corner for Jacksonville. So, you know he's going to get the wide receiver opportunities, plenty of wide receiver opportunities. I guess he's the home run swing if you feel like you need it. And then Judy, not to discount Judy, in a great matchup with Joe Flacco against the Cincinnati Bengals. Honestly, that might tip the scales for me for Jerry Judy. That matchup is so good. Cincinnati's defense is not good. Outside of Hendrickson, who they did finally come to an agreement to on a contract, there's very little talent on this defense. They were really bad last year. They drafted Shamar Stewart in the first round. We'll see how much of an impact he can make in his first career NFL game. He missed a lot of time over the course of the offseason with a contract dispute. It did eventually, get resolved, but there was time missed for the rookie there. I might go Judy. Because he should operate as the clear wide receiver one for the Browns in a great matchup. And then I might go DK, even though the matchup isn't the best on paper. He's going to dominate targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like Travis Hunter, but I don't know that he's going to dominate targets with, alongside Brian Thomas. Not yet. I like Jalen Waddle in a good matchup against the Colts, but I don't know if he's going to dominate targets with a healthy Tyreek Hill. There's questions there. Judy and Metcalf are the unquestioned wide receiver ones for their teams. So I'll take those two. I'll take Judy and Metcalf. And then really quick, I'll see this one and then I'll move further down so that we're all a little caught up. Eckler, Kupp, or ETN in full PPR. Kupp has the San Francisco 49ers. ETN has a pretty good matchup against the Carolina Panthers. And then Eckler against the New York Giants, who I think will operate as Washington's RB1. I'm pretty sure. I don't know that we can expect all that much from Kupp at this point in his career. I'm sure he'll have his games. He'll have his moments here and there. He's an older vet, but he's not dead. He didn't forget how to play football. He'll be fine here and there. It's just anybody's guess how effective he'll be on a week-to-week basis. He's in a worse offense now, catching the ball from a worse quarterback. Sam Darnold's not as good as Matthew Stafford, and Kupp is relegated behind Jackson Smith and Jigba for sure for opportunities in this offense. So I don't think I would go Kupp. It's between ETN and Eckler. ETN is in the better matchup. And I guess if I had to predict which game scores more points between Giants Commanders and Jags Panthers, I would say it's that one, Jags Panthers. Two teams with offenses with good expectations and defenses that are not good. So I guess I slightly lean ETN. I don't love ETN for the season, admittedly, but again, rookies are not going to get as much run week one. Bishal Tootin, LaQuint Allen, the guys that the Jags drafted in 2025 to add to their backfield. I wouldn't expect to see these guys that much today. I think it's going to be Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. So I'll slightly lean Etienne over Eckler. I do like Eckler today. Maybe a little bit tougher in a division game. And again, there could be more bodies rotating in for Washington. Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, Debo, and then, of course, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt maybe factors in a little bit today in his first career game. So I'll take ETN. Saints are gonna pull it off today, Rojo. I was looking at Saints plus 6.5, like for the spread. I couldn't pull the trigger on it. One, it would be funny if the Saints upset the Cardinals today in a season where obviously they are looking to the future. New Orleans is, but I can't. Do I think New Orleans is better than Arizona? No, but do I think Arizona is deserving of getting 6.5 points on the road against anybody? Also, no. So I couldn't bring myself to pick that game. I left that one alone. it would be very funny if the Saints at least covered the spread, much less pull off the upset. Egbuka or Debo? I think I lean slightly. I think I lean Egbuka. That's a toss-up. That one's a toss-up, Iron. That one's a little bit more personal preference. I do think Egbuka is going to... He's one of those rookies where you can comfortably rely on him today because Tampa needs him. He was their first-round pick. Chris Godwin is not going to play. Jalen McMillan is not going to play. Cade Otton is going to play at tight end for them, but he missed a little bit of time here recently with an injury in practice. So, maybe he's kind of eased into action a little bit. I mean, Tampa, they need Mike Evans and they need Emeka Egbuka against an Atlanta Falcons offense that we expect to score points, especially at home. Debo, again, should be fine today. Operated as the wide receiver 1 all throughout camp for Washington, while Terry McLaurin was negotiating a new contract or holding in for a new contract. And again, should get wide back opportunities today as Washington navigates their backfield post Brian Robinson. I think either guy is fine. I think either guy is perfectly fine to play. I don't have these guys definitively so much further apart in how I would rank them for the week. They're both in that kind of mid wide receiver 2 or mid to lower ish wide receiver 2 range. One is the wide receiver 19 and one is the wide receiver 20 as far as rankings. They're neck and neck. They're very close. I might slightly lean Egbuka, especially if it's full PPR. If it's standard scoring or half PPR, maybe it's a little bit more of a push. Standard might go to Debo because of wide back opportunities. But especially if it's full PPR, I think Egbuka is going to get a lot of work today. The Bucs, they need him. They need him. They're riddled with injuries to start the campaign. Godwin, Jalen McMillan, their left tackle Tristan Wirfs. Baker might want to get the ball out more quickly. That could work. If Egbuka is working in the slot, short and intermediate routes, that could favor him a little bit more. I'll take Egbuka. I'll take Egbuka over Debo. What do I think about Hunter Renfrow? Yeah, he could see some work. I mean, Jalen Coker's on injured reserve, so they need Hunter Renfrow. They traded Adam Thielen. So, that job for at least the first month of the season belongs to Hunter Renfrow. And, I know he missed all of last year, but assuming Renfrow didn't lose too much of a step after his year off from the NFL in 2024, Hunter Renfrow's a better player than Xavier Legette, with all due respect. I expect Tet to operate as their wide receiver 1 in general. They drafted him 8th overall. They drafted him to be an alpha, to be an X wide receiver. And I trust wide receiver 1 in the Dave Canales offense because we've seen it have success when it was Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson for a stretch of games last year prior to the trade to Baltimore. Now they get a true, top 10 draft talent in Tet. Yes, it's his first career game. He should earn targets right away, though. They're not going to ease him in. He's going to be a focal point of their offense. So I expect him to lead the team in targets. But yeah, Renfrow, if you ask me who's going to be second on the Panthers in targets behind Tet, it's not Legette or Jatavian Sanders. It would be Hunter Renfrow. So yeah, I could see 7-8 targets today. Yeah, absolutely. Could be a decent, in any PPR scoring, could be a decent, DFS play. You're not playing Hunter Renfrow in 10 and 12 team redraft leagues. He's not even on the, the waiver wire ads just yet. But I could see giving him a look in DFS formats or deeper leagues. Yeah. What's going on, E111? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. Pearsall or Shaheed, Rojo? I'm going Pearsall here. I'm a huge fan of Rashid Shaheed. I've said that multiple times on this channel over the past couple of years. I think Rashid Shaheed is a baller. I think he's as talented as Chris Olave. I don't know that Olave is definitively the Saints wide receiver 1. I think Shaheed, and that's because of Shaheed and how good I think he is and how underrated I think he is. But I don't trust his quarterback situation right now. Until further notice, Spencer Rattler doesn't move the needle for me when I have other viable options. I'll take the dude catching passes from Brock Purdy over the dude catching passes from Spencer Rattler. And that's really what it comes down to. Plus, Ricky Pearsall, first-round pick for them last year, came on strong at the end of the season. I expect him to operate as the team's wide receiver one, not weapon one. That's Christian McCaffrey. That's George Kittle. But I think Pearsall is the superior player to Jawan Jennings. I think at worst he's their wide receiver 3 or weapon 3 in the target, distribution order. Give me Ricky Pearsall over Shaheed. I love Shaheed. I mean, I'll draft him in best ball every year at any time that I can. He's going to be a harder guy to pinpoint in season long this year just because of the Saints quarterback play. Start one and drop one in Dynasty. Houston, Detroit, the New England Patriots. This question has a little extra wrinkle to it because it's Dynasty. So you're theoretically dropping a defense, that you can't get back not just this year, but multiple years, right, down the road. Houston has key pieces on it. Will Anderson, Stingley. The Patriots spent a lot of money to retool their defense this past offseason. And then the Lions, they get Aiden Hutchinson back. They get a lot of guys that missed time due to injury last year back. They're healthy now. So they're intriguing. It's not a great matchup today against the Packers on the road, but they're intriguing. Of these three, if we're just looking at today, I think I would start the Patriots because they're at home. They're at home against a Raiders offense that has really good weapons. They have Brock Bowers. They have Ashton Jinty. Jacoby Myers is a good receiver. And Geno Smith is a good quarterback. But at least the Patriots are at home, and they retooled this defense and spent a lot of money on it to fix it in the offseason. So I think I lean the Patriots. I think I lean the Patriots to start today. The Texans and the Lions are both on the road. And while I don't want to drop Houston, that might be my answer because I expect the Lions to once again be one of the better teams in the NFL. And if that's true, then they're going to be winning a lot of their games in the second half. And that's the scenario that I want for my defense. I want my defense to be playing with a lead in the second half of games. It allows them to be a little bit more aggressive, rushing the passer and trying to force the offense into making more mistakes, a higher likelihood of making mistakes. And I guess I trust Detroit right now to be in those scenarios more often than Houston. I would play the Patriots today, and I would cut Houston to keep Detroit. That's what I would do. And then Pearsall, Myers, or Diggs. Probably not Diggs of these three, just because while I do think he's going to be fine today, he is coming off of the torn ACL from last year, and now he's 31 years old, Stephon Diggs is. However, he is the best wide receiver that the Patriots have. So I would imagine he should get 10 targets. Pearsall should, again, is going to operate behind McCaffrey and Kittle in all likelihood. Myers will operate behind Bowers. However, there's no Christian Gonzalez again for New England. Their cornerback one is out with a hamstring injury. I guess I lean Myers just based on that, Rojo. I really like Pearsall just in general, but Myers has less target competition than Pearsall does. And again, while I do think the Patriots will be okay on defense today, they are without their top corner in Gonzalez. That might not make Myers a direct beneficiary. Gonzalez goes outside. Myers lines up a lot inside, but that forces the Patriots to shift personnel around. So that could be favorable for them, for the Raiders, for the Raiders offense. I'll slightly take Myers over Pearsall. Slightly take Myers over Pearsall. Crumply heads. You got Scatabo, Benson, Brian Robinson, or Calvin Ridley. I am inclined to tell you to play Calvin Ridley, even though I don't feel spectacular about it. Scatabo, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get a lot of run today. He missed a lot of time in the second half of camp with an injury, and Tyrone Tracy took most of those opportunities. He's the second-year player. Scadabo's the fourth-round rookie. Do I think Scatabo has a great chance to take over this backfield eventually? I do. Do I think it's going to happen in week 1? No, especially because Scatabo missed a lot of time in the back half of August, nursing the injury, opening up more opportunities and chances for Tyrone Tracy to run with the ones. So I think Tracy is going to be the primary runner for the Giants today. So I don't really want to play Scatabo. I also don't really want to play Trey Benson. I don't care about those 1A, 1B comments that James Conner had over the summer about their backfield breakdown. Conner is the RB1 for this Cardinals offense. And for at least week 1, I expect him to handle the bulk of opportunities. Brian Robinson just got to San Francisco, and Christian McCaffrey is, by all accounts, going to play. So I don't know that I want to trust the 49ers RB2, even though it's a good situation to be in. And I don't know, again, to that point, he just got there. Is he going to get run ahead of Isaac Guerrero? I don't know that yet. It's possible that Brian Robinson needs to learn, the scheme and the playbook and the little nuances of the 49ers offense a little bit more, whereas Guerrero has been in it for a couple of years. So I'll say Calvin Ridley, even though the matchup is not good. He's going up against Patrick Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year. At least we know, though, Ridley's going to play all of the snaps for the Titans offense. He's going to be out there. And I'm sure they're going to try to move him around the formation, try to get Surtain off of him here and there. How successful they'll be with the rookie quarterback making his first career start against a good defense, I don't know. These options are a little tough, but I'll take the dude who I think is going to see the field most of the time compared to your other options. I'll take Ridley. I'll take Ridley, Crumply Heads. But we're lowering expectations for him today against Patrick Surtain and in Cam Ward's first career start. Chris Rodriguez was made inactive today. Good call out. Efton Chisholm has been ruled out. Jameis Winston is the emergency quarterback for the Giants. So, as expected, Jackson Dart is the true backup. Let me pull up a few more of these inactives. Chris Rodriguez being inactive does that does open up more potential for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but I still would shy away from him today. Christian McCaffrey will play week 1. The Giants have a package of plays intended to put Jackson Dart on the field, quote unquote, where he is most comfortable. Interesting. We'll see how that shakes out. Yeah, Chris Rodriguez, healthy scratch. Good call out, Rojo. Austin Eckler, I guess, sees a bump, and so does Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt and maybe Jeremy McNichols. Will Campbell is active. That's great for the Patriots offense. Darnell Mooney inactive. Drake London's going to get all the targets he can handle for the Atlanta Falcons. Andrew Thomas inactive. That hurts the Giants offense. Alan Lazard inactive, not on the fantasy radar. Nick Chubb expected to serve as the bell cow for the Houston Texans. I don't know how confident I am about that, but it does make sense. Again, Woody Marks, 4th-round rookie, maybe doesn't see a whole heck of a lot of run today. I wouldn't be surprised if Dameon Pierce runs ahead of him for week 1. Jimmy Horn inactive for the Panthers. We'll continue to keep an eye on inactives as they continue to roll in. The most notable one probably being Chris Rodriguez, a healthy scratch for Washington. Still anybody's guess. Eckler should lead the backfield. Jeremy McNichols, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Deebo Samuel will probably all get backfield opportunities here and there. Sport Dog, what's going on? Thanks for popping in. Kamara and McLaurin over Eckler, Jamo, Shaheed, and Shakir. I think that's fine. McLaurin is a little dicey because of the missed time all this offseason. So I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to play Jamo over Terry McLaurin. Vibes for Jamo this summer have been really strong. Terry McLaurin vibes have obviously been, he didn't practice a whole heck of a lot this offseason due to the distraction of the contract negotiation and the hold-in. So in most scenarios, you're firing up Terry McLaurin as a wide receiver too. But in your situation, since you have JMO, I wouldn't blame you if you swapped out McLaurin for JMO, whose vibes have been better, and he just got paid last night. Expect him to be a focal point of the Lions offense in a perfectly fine matchup against Green Bay. I may actually suggest JMO over Terry slightly. If you want to keep Terry in there, that's fine. There's not a huge difference between the two of them. I'm just, between these two vets, the vibes for JMO recently have been great. The vibes for Terry have been holdout, contract holdout, missed time in practice because of the hold in. Hold in, not hold out. He reported to camp, but he wasn't practicing. I may go JMO for week 1, but if you want to leave Terry in, that's fine. And then leaving Kamara in, that makes sense. Over Eckler, over Shaheed, over Shakir for sure. I would consider JMO over Terry McLaurin, but Kamara is in for sure. You can play either one of those guys. Rojo, that's a studly. A.J. Brown didn't do it for you week 1, but having Chase and Puka to potentially help pick up the slack, you'll be all right. You'll be just fine. In a great spot to go back-to-back. Do you drop Tootin or Sampson? I like Bishal Tootin a lot this year. Not, for the first month and a half of the season. But I think Tootin has a decent shot to get more opportunities as the season progresses. So if I have to pick one of these two to stash, it would be Bishal Tootin. Sampson is intriguing, but Quinshon Judkins signed his contract. Yes, he's probably going to get disciplined by the NFL. We're probably looking at a suspension. And while I now am not sure how confident I am that Quinshon Judkins is going to make a significant impact for fantasy purposes this year, because now his rookie season has been so disrupted because of this, this off-field incident, he will factor in eventually. And he's the Browns, regardless of what happened, he's the Browns' future in the backfield. So Sampson's not as intriguing of a hold for me. Tootin is. 4th-round pick. Incumbents that are kind of meh in ETN and Bigsby. I don't know that Tootin is better than one of either one of those guys today, but I would say his chances of climbing the depth chart over the course of the season is better than Sampson's now that Quinshon Judkins is officially signed. It might be a short-term hit, dropping Sampson for Tootin, but I think the long view is to keep Tootin. So I would stash Tootin. That's where I would go. Keeping an eye on any more potential inactives. I don't see any at the moment. I'm taking a look now, seeing if there's any more inactives that are rolling in. Jimmy Horn, that's fine. Yeah, Efton Chisholm is out for the Patriots. He's a healthy scratch, I'm sure. No surprise there. He made the team, and it was a great camp story, but he's going to have a ways to go as an undrafted free agent before he's ready to see real game action. Yeah, no significant other updates. The big one, the big inactive, and thanks Rojo for calling it out, is that Chris Rodriguez is a healthy scratch for the Washington Commanders. So that might make you feel a little bit better about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but I still wouldn't be planning on rolling with him. Austin Eckler probably going to get as much run as he can handle today. Jeremy McNichols figures to still mix in. Debo will get wide back opportunities, and then obviously Jaden Daniels is a threat to run multiple times per game as well. So that could be a bit of a hodgepodge situation for Washington. Eckler is fine as an RB3, depending on your other options, especially in PPR leagues. I don't want to play anybody else. You don't want to play Bill, not yet. Don't want to play Jeremy McNichols for the Washington Commanders. All right, we are at the end of the chat. I was planning to take this up until noon, and then I need to take care of my own lineups and make sure that those are all squared away. So I will hang on for about another 10 minutes. Can take any other questions that anybody may have. They could be fantasy related or not. If you're, if you just want to have a straight up football conversation, we can do that. But yeah, we'll hang on for another 10 minutes or so to help any other folks that are popping in. Like Jay, what's going on, Jay? Good to see you. And we're at the end of the chat, so there is no wait time to get your questions answered. Again, as always, members and supers will get priority responses to questions. That is a perk of either being a member of the channel or, if you're feeling so inclined, to send a super. Would I rather start Golden, Henderson, Ridley, or Chubb in the flex? I am bullish on Travion Henderson, as is most of the industry. But I have to stay fair with my thinking when it comes to the rookies today. I've been adamantly, my thoughts are, outside of the clear-cut first-round picks, Ashton Genty, Tet McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Amarian Hampton didn't have a great game on Friday, but he was in your lineup. We were all starting Amarian Hampton. The first-round picks, yeah, that makes sense. The day 2 and day 3 picks are tougher to trust in their first career NFL game. Even the guys who are electric and exciting and we have high expectations for, like a Travion Henderson. So I don't want to gas him up too much for week 1, even though I am very excited about his prospects to put a very strong fantasy campaign together when it's all said and done. Ridley, brutal matchup today against Patrick Surtain in Denver. Cam Ward's first career start. I'd rather not play Ridley this week, even though I do like Ridley for the season. I'm not crazy about him today. Golden, another first-round pick. And the Packers are banged up at wide receiver outside of Golden. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Savion Williams are all on the injury report, all tagged questionable with various injuries. And Reed, most importantly, is dealing with a Jones fracture. How effective he's going to be, not just today, but all season long, is very much in question. So Golden could be, especially in full PPR, could be the way to go here. And then Nick Chubb, it was just reported he should operate as the bell cow for Houston. I don't know how effective Nick Chubb is at this stage of his career behind this offensive line, going up against a solid Rams front seven on the road. Yes, I think Chubb will get the majority of opportunities, even if he's not having a good showing over Woody Marks and Dameon Pierce. But I don't know that I want to rely on Nick Chubb until I see it become real. Nick Chubb is awesome. We love Nick Chubb. Hell of a player. Tons of fun to watch over the course of his career. I don't know that he's the same Nick Chubb anymore after all of these numerous major injuries that he suffered over the past couple of years. I think my answer here is Golden, which is a bit of a swing for the fences. But he is their first round pick, and the Packers are banged up in their wide receiver room. I think I would go Golden. Ridley, bad matchup. Chubb, tough to trust at this point of his career. Henderson, love him for the season. Not sure how much of a vote of confidence I can give him today in his first career NFL game. Golden's first career NFL game as well, but he's a first-round pick. He's a first-round pick. We can have high expectations for him right away, fair or not, and the Packers are hurting in their wide receiver room. I'll take Golden. And thanks for popping in, Jay. Appreciate it. Third flex. We are moving down the ranks with this question, but I like it. I love deep leagues. I love making these types of decisions. Ollie Gordon or a free agent ranked below Mike Wilson. That is low. I don't really want to play Ollie Gordon today. Again, I know the hype for Ollie Gordon is quite strong, but he is a rookie who was a day 3 pick, making his first career start, and making his first career game played. He's not starting. Devon Achane is starting. Ollie Gordon's first career NFL game on the road. Who's the veteran running back that the that the Dolphins have on their depth chart. I'm looking this up right now. Alec Ingold, Jeff Wilson. Oh, God. Okay, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I'm going to go back to the well with my thoughts on the rookies today. I would not be surprised to see Jeff Wilson, yes, that Jeff Wilson Jr., get run today ahead of Ollie Gordon. Teams generally play their vets, even their boring, uninspiring vets, over day 2 and day 3 rookies in their first career NFL game. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of run from Ollie Gordon today. So, yeah, let me know, E111, who else is available? Like, who are those other options? I would be looking for a vet, even a random boring vet that is not exciting at all for at least week 1. I expect the vets. The NFL teams generally lean on vets more than day 2 and day 3 picks from this year's draft. So I'd be curious to know who else is available. Boring veterans that I expect to get run as like an RB2 or a wide receiver 3, like a Hunter Renfrow, like is Hunter Renfrow available that you could throw in a third flex? I would take a shot on him. That's an example of a type of guy that I would go after. E111. I don't want to play the rookie running backs and rookie wide receivers today that weren't first round picks. Travion Henderson might be the only exception, depending on who your options are. What's going on, Nemo? Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. And we do want Woody. We do eventually want Woody. We think he's going to be fun. Let's see. Moving on through Renfrow drafted. Yeah, E111, let me know. Get back to me. Like, give me 3, 4, 5 names and we'll take a look. Look for veterans. Cup, Olave, Bateman, Chubb. I think of this group, you have to play Olave. I don't feel great about it, but you drafted Olave higher than these 3 other guys. And it might be gross. Don't watch the Saints game. Just hope that Olave can catch the ball 5 or 6 times and give you 10 points. I would say Olave is 1. And then between Cup, Bateman, and Chubb should operate as the bell cow that was reported. I don't know how confident I am in Nick Chubb at this stage of his NFL career, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Dameon Pierce mix in and take some opportunities, especially if Chubb is struggling. Cup and Bateman will at least be every down players for Seattle and Baltimore, respectfully. And Bateman, in the instance of Bateman, there's no Isaiah Likely tonight. They don't share the same targets, but the target's got to go somewhere else. Isaiah Likely's not going to play for Baltimore. If it's standard scoring, I might go Chubb. I don't see the scoring here. But if it's half or full PPR, I may actually take the swing on Bateman, the younger wide receiver. He can make big plays. He can stretch the field for Baltimore. These are 2 good teams. The Ravens playing the Bills. So I wouldn't be surprised to see to see some points scored tonight. I think I would actually take Bateman over Cup. It's a bit of a ballsy call. I'm sure most rankings that you look at today, ESPN, Yahoo, wherever you get your ranking sources, probably have Cup ranked ahead of Bateman, but I might actually go Bateman. No Isaiah Likely. I'll take the guy catching the ball from Lamar Jackson over the guy catching the ball from Sam Darnold. I'll take Olave and Bateman. If it's standard scoring, you could go Olave and Chubb if you want. I just don't know how good I feel about Chubb at this stage of his career after all of those injuries. Olave and I would go Bateman. Olave and Bateman. Let's see. Ollie Gordon and Dylan Sampson. Should you scoop Cedric? If you have Devon Achane, then keep Ollie Gordon. And obviously it depends who your other wide receivers are. Like, how strong is your wide receiver depth? How strong is your running back depth? If your wide receivers are better than your running backs, keep those depth running backs. But if you have anchors at wide receiver, or if you have anchors at running back and you don't need to rely on these guys right away, then sure, you could drop Sampson or Gordon. Probably Gordon. For Cedric Tillman. It depends on your team makeup. And then really quick, E111. Again, for anybody just popping in, members and supers will get first priority responses to their questions. That is a perk of being a member of the channel or sending a super. I might go Calvin Austin here, E111, and just kind of hope for the best because he should operate as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have nothing at wide receiver behind DK Metcalf. It's pretty much Calvin Austin is a guy that they are relying on. I think that's probably the dart throw that I would take. I would take a shot on Calvin Austin with wide open opportunities behind DK Metcalf. Slayton is interesting, but, Malik Neighbors, they also have Wan'Dale Robinson. They don't have much else either, the Giants, but I think Wan'Dale Robinson is better than any other Steelers wide receiver not named DK Metcalf. So, that throws a wrench potentially in Slayton being relied. I'll take Calvin Austin from this group, E111. I'll take Calvin Austin. It's a dart throw. Obviously, just, throw him in there and don't watch and just hope for the best. But that's probably the direction that I would take is Calvin Austin and just hope for the best. So yeah, just to wrap up my thoughts on this question, if your wide receivers are strong, do nothing. If your running backs are strong, sure, you could drop either one of these guys to pick up Cedric Tillman. It's all about your roster makeup. Your bench should be filled out with your weaker positions. If you hammered wide receiver in your draft and you had a modified 0 RB or hero RB running back strategy, then your bench should be filled with running backs. If you went robust running back and drafted 3 with your first 4 picks, and then, your wide receiver's a little weaker, then your bench should have more wide receivers on it. It's all about roster makeup. Let's see. Adam Thielen or Bill Krosky-Merritt. So, again, I prefer, even in this scenario, I prefer veterans over day 2 and day 3 picks playing in their first career NFL game. The Chris Rodriguez inactive could be a good sign for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. It could be. But we don't know definitively how much run he's going to get. With Austin Eckler obviously still poised to take care of most backfield duties for Washington. Jeremy McNichols is still active. Jaden Daniels will run a ton. Deebo Samuel will get wide back opportunities probably in all likelihood. I don't know how much Krosky-Merritt factors in for at least this 1 week. Adam Thielen is going to start for the Minnesota Vikings and probably act as a solid security blanket for J.J. McCarthy with no Jordan Addison. I would play Thielen. I always lean vets week 1 over day 2 and day 3 rookies. First round picks, sure, fine. High expectations from the jump, fair or not, are going to be had for first round picks. They can be in your lineup. Ted McMillan, Ashton Genty, Tyler Warren, Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, Amarian Hampton. Even though that didn't work out Friday night, he was still in your lineup. The day 2, day 3 picks, tougher to trust in their first career game. Give me the vets over the rookies. I'll take Thielen. Let's see. What else do we have? Tet or Devontae Adams. Now this is a scenario where I think I would go Tet. Just because, first round pick, you can fire up first round picks week 1. And that's what Tet is. He was the 8th overall selection. He also is going to operate as his team's wide receiver 1. Davante Adams is a stud. He's a future Hall of Famer in all likelihood, but he probably is the wide receiver 2 for the Rams behind Puka. Tet is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 for the Carolina Panthers, and there's nothing scary about the matchup against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I slightly lean Tet. They're very close to each other. I wish you could start both, to be honest. But I'll play Tet. I'll play Tet over Davante. I would love to get both of them into your starting lineup, though. And then Ramondre or Dobbins. That's too bad you can't play Adams over one of these two. I'll take Dobbins. I do think I think both of these guys will operate as their team's 1A. I think it's more likely Henderson mixes in behind Ramondre than it is Harvey mixes in behind Dobbins. I think both will get opportunities today, but if I had to guess which veteran incumbent gets more chances for his team, I'll take Dobbins. I think Henderson is more likely to get in there and get more work than behind Ramondre than Harvey is likely to get behind Dobbins. So I think Dobbins will be on the field a little bit more. Therefore, I will take Dobbins over Ramondre. Nemo likes Mason Taylor. The high ankle sprain, Nemo, at the end of camp, definitely put a dent in the hype on him. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing else in this Jets tight end room, and there's very little outside of Garrett Wilson in general as far as their pass catchers. He absolutely could be the team's option 2, weapon 2. In the passing game. Yeah, we just got to see how he does coming off of the high ankle sprain that he suffered earlier in camp. That's tough for a rookie. That's tough for a rookie, especially early on. And then Engram or Otten. I'll take Engram here, Nemo. Otten missed a little bit of time the past 10 days with an injury. It was looking like he might have to miss time to start the season. Turns out not to be the case. Best case scenario, he is available and active for week 1. But we drafted Engram ahead of Cade Otton by a lot. Engram was drafted to be a tight end 1. Cade Otton was drafted to be a tight end 2. And he missed time at the end of camp with this injury. So he may be eased back into action. I'm going Engram definitively on this one. I'm not the biggest Evan Engram fan, but between him and Cade Otton, I'll take Engram. I'll take Engram. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. I will be closing this up shortly just because I got to get my lineup situated. But appreciate everybody hanging out today. And obviously, best of luck in your week 1 matchups. Let's get some dubs. I will be back on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for my first waiver wire show of the season. And then, of course, I can take other questions as well. Trades, vibes, whatever have you. Let's see. You have CD Thomas, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, Brees, Dobbins, Javonte. Okay, yeah. So your running backs are a little thinner. Your running backs are a little thinner than your wide receivers. So keep Ollie Gordon and keep Dylan Sampson, especially after Pacheco's performance on Friday night, only getting 5 carries. I don't know that that'll be the norm. That'll be the case all season long. But Pacheco's usage in the first game was not super inspiring. Whereas you have anchors at wide receiver. You have CD. You have Brian Thomas. Keep your depth running backs. I like Cedric Tillman, but you don't need him as much based on your roster construction. I would keep your depth running backs. Keep Ollie Gordon, keep Dylan Sampson. Just hang on to your depth running backs. It's all about roster makeup. Okay, we are at the end of the chat. I got to run, but I wanted to make sure I got at least an hour with you guys ahead of week 1 to make sure that everybody's lineups were squared away and good to go before the first full slate of NFL games for the 2025 season. Super pumped, super excited. Get your drinks, get your snacks, get everything ready. Sit back, relax, enjoy the football. Very excited for all of us that it's back. Christmas morning is here. Best of luck to everybody in your opening matchups. Again, I will be back on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, week 2 waiver wire, and as always, general AMA Start-sit questions generally excluded on Tuesdays. We don't have to make a lineup just yet on Tuesdays, but can definitely take any and all other topics at that time. Thank you all. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. Special shout out to my members. I saw Iron. I saw Crumply Heads. I saw Greg. I saw Fortune. Saw Rojo, of course. E111. Saw Nemo. Saw Sport Dog. Appreciate you all. Thank you all for the support. Saw Jay. Appreciate you guys coming in, and everybody. Everybody for your time, for your energy. Appreciate it. Best of luck. I will see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Let's go watch some football.